Hello from Becky and me, and welcome to this evening's programme.
First, a doctor's warning about the thousands of obese people from our region going without surgery that could save their lives.
Experts say just under 200 gastric bypasses were carried out on patients from east of England last year, but that over 100,000 people here are heavy enough to qualify for the operation.
Many people oppose the idea of weight loss surgery on the NHS, but medics claim the health service could save money if it invested in the treatment. Rhiannon Mills has been talking to those on both sides of the argument.
This was Roy and Kate Glencross. The couple from Holbeach near Peterborough were fat and happy, but had a serious problem weighing on their hearts, kidneys and overall health. Now, a year and a half later, they feel and look like completely different people. Together, they've lost 19 stone thanks to stomach surgery.
I was 26.5 stone, and so getting around the house just to do the normal chores was becoming virtually impossible.
We're having a better life now, aren't we? And like Roy said, we both feel very sorry if people are denied this, because it does change your life for the better.
These size 26 trousers are what Kate used to wear, and they prove just how successful the surgery has been. But it seems that Roy and Kate may well be in a minority. The Royal College of Surgeons has found that around 240,000 people need weight loss surgery. Last year, only 4,300 people got it. That's only 2% of patients. Nick Finer is an obesity expert.
Just imagine 110,000 patients with cancer for whom there is a good treatment that costs £7,500 and that paid the money back, which of course in cancer treatment it doesn't, and only 198 people or so getting that treatment in 1 year.
So should the NHS really have to pay for our increasing waistlines? In October, the case of Paul Mason from Ipswich raised the debate. He wanted gastric surgery after reaching 70 stone. He's currently in hospital, but NHS Suffolk refused to comment on his case. At the moment, people are only considered for surgery if they meet certain criteria. They must be morbidly obese with a body mass index higher than 40. They must be in the right age group and should have tried all of the other appropriate and available measures to lose the weight. Not everyone agrees that surgery is the answer. Tim Daly from Milton Keynes had a gastric bypass. He has since lost weight, but because of complications, he now struggles to eat and has had seizures. He believes that the NHS seriously needs to look at how they help the overweight.
The NHS in the UK isn't geared up for bariatric surgery very well. They've only got a few small units, and they are not geared up for people who have these problems. I accept that, you know, my kind of reaction to the surgery is a slightly unusual one and a little bit on the rare side, but there are other patients that have had these types of complications.
Within 25 years, it's predicted that at least half of the UK's population could be obese. Who's responsible for the growing problem and who should pay for it are issues that are only going to get bigger. Rhiannon Mills, Anglia News at Holbeach near Peterborough.
Well, we did ask the NHS for an interview, but they had no one available to discuss the issues raised in that report there. However, in a statement, they said access to surgery had improved for obese patients, but spending needed to be considered against other priority areas.
So what do you think? Should the NHS be paying more to treat people who have severe weight problems? Let us know your opinions and we'll try to read some out at the end of the programme. Don't forget to tell us your name and where you live. The email address is on your screens right now.
Right, moving on. It's been announced today that thousands of extra troops from our region are to be sent to Afghanistan later this year.
An estimated 3,000 members of 16 Air Assault Brigade from Colchester in Essex and Woodbridge in Suffolk will head to Helmand Province in October.
It's the brigade's third tour there in 5 years in the ongoing battle against the Taliban. We're now joined from Colchester by our correspondent Victoria Webb. So, Victoria, how's the town taking the news this evening then?
Well, this latest announcement comes once again at a time when public opinion over our presence in Afghanistan remains divided in Colchester and indeed elsewhere. As you said, this will be the brigade's third tour of Helmand Province. Their previous tours were in 2006 and 2008. And for the families, the usual anxiety will remain until their loved ones return home. It's the end of the day at Montgomery Infant School in Colchester. Most children here are from military families, and for their mums picking them up today, concerns already building for 16 air assault brigades' next deployment.
You live every day, don't you, day to day, terrified that they're not going to come home, so it's not nice at all.
What's it like when your daddy goes away?
I feel sad.
Why do you feel sad?
I really want my dad to be home every day. It makes you feel like if your dad's going to get killed or not.
Around 3,000 soldiers based at Colchester and Woodbridge will be going out to Afghanistan in October. 16 Air Assault Brigade will be replacing 4th Mechanised Brigade, who from April will be heading up the fight against the Taliban.
Got a lot of new faces coming this time, but most of the boys have done 2 tours already out there, so they know the score already.
There are currently around 1,500 servicemen and women from our region in Afghanistan. The largest contingent, around 400 troops from the 1st Battalion Royal Anglians, known as the Vikings. Also there are 200 personnel from Wattisham and Suffolk, mainly from 3 Army Air Corps, a 150-strong contingent from the RAF Regiment, and 120 members of the 1st Royal Tank Regiment, both from RAF Honington in Suffolk. 120 personnel from RAF Marham in Norfolk, 100 troops from 3 engineers at Wimbish in Essex, 110 members of the RAF Regiment from Wittering in Cambridgeshire, and 65 reservists from the 3rd Battalion Royal Anglians, whose headquarters is at Bury St Edmunds. Around 200 other individuals from our region, including medics from Peterborough, MOD police and support staff, are also currently in Afghanistan. And early this week, about 150 members of 2 Squadron RAF Regiment from Honington became the latest to fly out. They'll replace their comrades from 27 Regiment. During 16 Air Assault Brigade's 2008 tour of Afghanistan, 15 soldiers based at Colchester lost their lives. So naturally, there's concern in this garrison town about their deployment later this year.
We support them, obviously, as much as we can. But I just think of the families when 3,000 more are going out.
It's what the politicians decide, and I don't like it, but, you know, necessary evil.
I would pay absolute tribute to every one of our servicemen and women who tragically have lost their lives. But when I talk directly to our troops, both in Afghanistan and in this country, they understand the risks.
Back at Montgomery Infant School, the head teacher will be giving pupils as much support as she can.
We have a flexi start to the day, so if a child is feeling a bit sensitive, there's opportunity for staff to have a little chat and a bit of TLC should they require it.
So as the countdown begins for their next 6-month deployment, families will be making the most of their time together. Well, with me now is Commanding Officer Lieutenant Colonel Jez Hare from 16 Medical Regiment. Now, you're likely to be one of those going out to Afghanistan. I know you were there on the previous tour in 2008. The brigade lost a lot of soldiers during that tour. What are your memories of that time?
Well, as I recall, it was a particularly tough and demanding tour, especially for those on the front line. And, of course, the weather didn't do us any favours either. It was a very hot tour.
Now, I know we don't know exactly what the role will be out there, but what type of training will soldiers be doing in the coming weeks?
Well, we're keeping a very close eye on the tactics that we're developing and, of course, the tactics of the Taliban. And our training will have both of those tactics very much in focus.
Now, you've got 2 children yourself. How do your family prepare for your deployment?
Well, obviously this time it's a Christmas tour, so it will be slightly different than last. But the families, the general public and indeed the people of Colchester give us enormous support while we're away.
How important is it to get that support when you're away?
Oh, it can't be overestimated.
Thank you very much for joining us. Well, we don't have confirmation of the exact numbers who'll be going out in October, but the previous tour, it was roughly 3,000, and we're expecting the same sort of numbers this year.
Victoria, thanks very much.